so it's kind of like Dust 2. Like, I feel like it's a map like where a lot can happen. You know, you're not going to have these crazy takes necessarily. It's going to be somewhat standard. Mid control is going to be a big thing if you're Immortals. So really, it's going to be whoever gets control of that area first.
Well, it's also important to remember that Faze did just go through a roster change, so maybe they want to do more less tactical and team play maps. But we are going to see a push here from the Terrorists, and it looks like they're going to launch a couple of players. They're going to do the running boost and just get right around the corner in the faces of the USP players. But Kerrigan picking up the first kill, and Alu coming in as well.
Kerrigan out on the side. He's behind the default box with the P2K. Really, Alu is the big player right now as he's gotten that bomb dropped. Rain coming in from the flank, and they're getting surrounded at this point like sharks in the water, circling a bucket of chum. It's down to just Bolts, who's got 98 HP and a Glock in his hands. He's hoping for something to happen, but it's not going to go that way. It will be Faze grabbing the pistol round with 4 players left alive as well. And you're right, potentially picking Cash because, not necessarily picking, it came down to that because of the changes.
I like the idea from the Terrorists doing that run boost, but unfortunately what happened was that the counter-terrorist actually spotted one of the players too early, and then as soon as he spotted a player, instead of taking that battle, he fell back to the bomb side. I don't know if that was Kerrigan or... Yeah, I think it was Kerrigan. So as soon as that happened, the CTs fell back, and then the Terrorists kind of lost that edge that they would get from doing that run boost, from getting in the faces of the CTs early and just footing around in their faces. So the round went in the way of the counter-terrorists, and they're just going to opt to get 4 UMPs here with the FAMAS.
Kiyoshima now by default with the UMP. It's a pretty heavy SMG by Kerrigan. Spots him. He's up on Heaven, but he has to fall off, and as a result, Kyo has died as well. That's actually not the player they were really hoping to kill. The rifle's in the hands of Kerrigan. He will drop, and now they've gotten control of the site. Alu coming in from vent, spots one, falls immediately. Great tag team approach from the side of Immortals. Phelps now behind this box. He's basically a thorn in the side of the CTs, but the nades come out and they flush him out. However, very expensive investment there with the Incendiary and the HE flying out. There's a flashbang from the site from Steel, and he trying to push up from B main with the Deagle. At this point, the bomb plant was already successful enough, but Henny's found himself in a 1v1, and he's got a Deagle. Rain has utility, but he hasn't stuck the bomb just yet. He's got the Incendiary smoke, or flash and HE, but he's just trying to bait out Henny, and Henny finally peeks. And again, clock awareness. Huge for the side of Faze.
Yeah, utilizing that time, but I mean, there's a couple ways to play it. I don't know if I would personally prefer the way that Rain actually approached that situation. I perhaps would have just launched an Incendiary grenade and then used my HE right after, expecting Henny to just like push through the fire, and if there's no push there, maybe just launch a flash and stick it while the flash is in transit in the middle of the air. But Rain just expecting Henny to peek, and Henny just going for the peek. There's no real way to say it was a good play or a bad play, so I think Rain did a good job of clutching that round. But great round by the Terrorists nonetheless. Just getting in there, getting that bomb planted. That's a huge round win, because even though they lost the round, they killed 4 members from the counter-terrorists and got the bomb plant. So even though they lost the round, they're getting that bonus $800, and then they're also denying the counter-terrorists of having any economy. So going into this next round, the CTs will have to consider, you know what, are we going to have to buy rifles and armor and skip the nades, or do we get SMGs and get the utility? They haven't really been utilizing that utility right there on that round. We saw that, I think Kiyoshima was the first person to get picked, and he got picked by a Deagle like almost instantaneously as soon as he spotted a player. So he wasn't able to utilize his utility at all, and the Terrorists were just able to swarm the bomb site. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of plays that the Terrorists do here. Are they going to kind of force up and try to get AKs and try to take aim duels, which is, it looks like that's what they kind of want to do this entire game. Just look for these aim duels, look to mechanically outskill Faze at the moment, at least in these first 2 rounds. That's what it looks like, but I guess only time will tell, as they're...
Yeah, I believe they're currently in a pause.
So chat.
Yeah. But I mean, right now, you know, that round from Immortals, if you're Immortals, do you force here? I mean, you have 3 rounds of loss bonus coming in. You have about 3K on each player, 3,800 on your peak player on any, and then the rest of the guys sitting at like 2,750, 3,000. Like, They do.
They do. It's a really tough call. Like, I think you kind of have to, just because of how the economy in this game works. If they do win this round, they reset the CTs completely, and then the CTs have to double eco. So that would, like, one round turns into 3 rounds, essentially. So I think they kind of have to do this kind of buy and play off the rifles, look for those picks, and then just send the SMGs out first to kind of make something happen. Phelps already with a pick-off. 5-on-4, I think right now, Immortals can slow this round down. They have middle control, so they have map control. They have a man advantage. They can really just play with the rotations from the CTs, maybe do a little bit of pressure and fake just to pull a rotation from the CT and get another pick. It's exactly what happens here. We see Kerrigan pushing, Kiyoshima gets picked off at A, and it looks like it's just crumbling for Faze at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it was like we didn't really have much time to really debate it, but it was like, all right, if you're Immortals, like, you have to look at what you just did to them. He took them down to 1 player, cut everyone else down. You got a bomb plan as well, so you've got 2 rounds of loss bonus. That's 1,900 plus the 800 is 27. So you have a pretty decent chunk of cash. If you force buy and you lose, you're getting now even more money, and it's just starting to build and build and build. But it was a bold move. It worked out, and now they've kind of pushed Faze into a corner. It's not an eco. They do decide to force up pistol armor on AZ, Aloe, and Kiyoshima. FAMAS in the hands of Kerrigan and Rain, very light on the utility, just 2 flashbangs left in the arsenal right now. As they go for the boost up into the corner, that's a good play because you're just using what you have, which is your gun. That's basically the only thing you've got. Throwing up one of the rifles in that position, though, does make the defense a bit more lopsided, as he's in a position where he's not going to really be in a great spot to help anybody out. Nice shot from Aloe, though. Squeezing the 1D over top of the roof. That's a great way to start things off as Lucas is gunned down, trying to sneak his way into the vents, and it will kind of tip off the side of Faze as to what might be coming here. Knowing that they've given up control of vents, Kiyoshima playing towards the generator, ducking now, looking for another 1D of his own. He's having a hard time getting it. The Deagle's not raining true, but he's still alive in this position. Molotov lands in heaven, but Kiyoshima finally finds one. Took him a bit of time, and there's the other rifle, but it actually gets nothing going. And now they've gotten the B site under their control, but what can they do with it? I don't even think they've gotten the bomb across yet. It's stuck underneath heaven. It's on Phelps, and he's going to get one more frag, though, onto Aloe. There's still one of those rifles in play in the hands of Rain, who swaps his pistol out for the Deagle. Peeking, looking for heads. He's not going to spot him yet. Now he's holding the cross. This is a big play. He can deny the plant potentially, but Phelps makes it across in time, and no one is peeking here from Immortals, which is exactly what you got to do. AZ tries to fly out with the Deagle, does pretty decent damage as well to Phelps, but now the round does end up going the way of Immortals, so they gather it back in the end.
And great play there by Immortals, just slow playing it, getting to the bomb site, and then playing the post plant. But I'm not really sure what Kerrigan was doing there at the start of the round. He had Kiyoshima in the bomb site with a deagle, but Kerrigan was like pushed out, one of 2 players on the team with a rifle, just pushing out, looking for a 1-versus-1 engagement early on. And had he gone down there, that would have been a huge just issue for his team. And luckily he got out of there alive. I just don't understand what the thought process behind that was. If he's pushing up, his teammate should be with him, and I just think he should be baiting his teammates and setting up a crossfire with his FAMAS.
Well, here comes the push from the T side. It is just vanilla pistols coming out from the side of Faze. No surprise here. They are actually managing to do a decent bit of damage as they take down Lucas, coming in from the flank on Squeaky Door. But at this point, it should be the round for the side of Immortals. Shouldn't be too difficult. They still haven't actually grabbed the bomb and decided where to go with it. Oh, Bolts gets spotted in mid. That's actually one more kill for the CT side pistols. Phelps is there to mop things up, though. And Immortals lose 2 players in the round, so it does cost them a little bit. Considering that was just pistols coming out, that's not exactly a great way to move forward, but they still have the cash to buy up again.
Yeah, Immortals is farming at the moment, just really keeping this momentum on the T side. And just playing against the fact that the CT's buys are just too expensive, and just playing off the mechanical skill, getting those entry picks, just sending in the players that are just really good aimers to go and get those entries. And it looks like Faze is playing into it, not really playing crossfires or making Immortals commit to a bomb site to do anything, and just feeding the kills just by overextending and peeking a little bit too much.
There's the smoke coming out from the T side to allow them to push up a bit more on B main. Doesn't decide to do it. Again, we see Faze boosting a player up. Kiyoshima manages to pick off Lucas. He was in the vents and they never even saw him, so good positional play coming out from Faze. Oh, Rain pins him in the door. He wanted to come through, but access is denied. Henny with the off, trying to push his way out of the Squeaky Door in the A site. As I stumbled over my own words. It's a 2-on-2 right now, Kiyoshima and Kerrigan versus Henny and Bolts. The bomb is heading towards this A site. It's down right now. They have plenty of time to pick it up and plant it. And it's a pinch play for Faze. Players coming from both sides. Kiyoshima right now by the truck, and Kerrigan coming in on the flank, taking his time, but I believe they've got a man watching it already. Boltz has already positioned himself in A main, and that's basically the round. It's going to be so much harder for Kiyoshima to do this. They still haven't planted the bomb, so he's working his way up, but he does not have a kit, and he has no utility. However, they also have no idea where he's coming from. Wow. And he just posts up and waits for him. I think he'd thrown a nade earlier, so they had a decent idea he'd be moving in from that direction.
Well, the idea behind that play was, and he was just, oh, there's the pin. You hate to see it. The idea behind that play was that Immortals was going to fake that they were falling back towards the towards middleward of the B-bomb site, and that was hopefully going to pull the rotation from Kyo, and Kyo was either, I think it was Kyo in the end there, he was either going to push and peek into A to get the information, or he was just going to have to fall back to B, and then Henry was just waiting there for his teammate to come back, and then they could do something together. But there was going to be another eco here, Deagles and P250s being bought by the counter-terrorists, just peeking out, but just getting straight up out-aimed by AKs, and the AKs are going to have the advantage in the situation, more accurate, and then be able to just get the one-hit kill. And of course, the players on the CT side, some of them are opting to avoid buying armor, and that's going to cause aim punch, and I don't know, Deagles, man.
He got the kill like at the same time as he died. It happened so fast, I almost didn't even notice. I was like, wait a minute, he killed him. Like his crosshair never even reached the guy. He dies, and then it's like, oh, there's a Deagle bullet, by the way. Phantom bullet hits the head. So now Faze is down 5-2. Immortals is starting to build up some momentum here. There's a big buy coming out from Faze. They put the op in the hands of both Alu and Kerrigan. It's a double op approach. It's a little bit clunky, but sometimes you can make it work, and they'll see what they decide to do with it. Kerrigan in the checkers gets spotted, boosting one up into the vents. He's going to have to fall off, but now they know where he's at, and they know that player's in vents as well. Both players fall as well. Good play from Immortals to punish them for that attempted boost into the vents, and that's basically given the round to Immortals. Alu and Rain at this point left alive, and you could definitely justify saving in this situation. It's a 2 versus 4, and you're nowhere near that B bomb site. Do you really want to throw the op away here? You don't really have the money to do it. So they're just setting up for exits, looking for that early kill. If they can find it, maybe it's more manageable.
And that was, I just want to talk about that kind of strat there. So the counter-terrorists got 2 ops, and they were trying to run a 1-3-1 setup, putting one player at A with an op, one player at B with an op, and then 3 riflers that are in mid that can just quick rotate to either site. But the terrorists did a quick middle control, which isolated any players who were by the highway area or by Z. They were going to be cut off from any players that were, you know, in the dumpster area or by the vents. So the terrorists had full control of that area, got the entry pick, and now because they have middle control, they can get through the vents towards B. Kerrigan's left alone at B with no rotations in sight, and then he gets quickly overrun as well. So the terrorists getting like a really impactful round here, just being able to just split up through middle and through B, getting in there. Henny getting a really good kill on Rain there. Rain saving that gun would have been a huge deal for the counter-terrorists here, but now they're trailing by 4 rounds, and all they have is an op here to kind of keep them in the game. But they will buy pistols and armor. It's only a half buy. They're only going to buy down to around $2,000, $2,500 per player.
If we can pull up the scoreboard here as well, we'll see like how many. They've hit full loss bonus, so they know exactly where they're at. They buy the armor because they have 3,400 coming if they lose this round anyway.
Yeah, so they're just trying to maximize their chances of winning this round at the same time as being able to afford a full buy next round without it having affect them in the following rounds.
Rain already pushed up in mid on the other side of the smoke. That's the op working out already for the T side. He's got Lucas on the other side of him, and he hits the shot with the Deagle. Again, Rain with the Deagle, finding some early kills here for the CT side. But he has to fall off. He's down to 11 HP, so he's taking pretty lethal damage. Moving towards checkers, I believe he dropped in from the vent. I couldn't really see where he went from that one. No, he's actually now back towards sandbags. He finds another kill, and another! Rain is lighting him up with the Deagle. It's down to just 2. As Ennie and Boltz try to regain control of mid, finally Rain's rampage will be ended. And another kill coming in for Immortals in mid as well. It splits the defense like field goal posts, as there's 1 on B and 1 on A. So wherever they go, it's a 2-on-1. However, one side has the op, one side has a pistol, so it's all a gamble at this point. They decide to go towards B, and that will be where Kerrigan's at with a P250. Oh! Good awareness and trigger control from Kerrigan, but he almost whiffed on the kill. Boltz still wasn't able to turn it back around. The op falls, and this round has been back and forth, a ping-pong situation, as we find Kerrigan versus Ennie in a 1 versus 1 post plan. Ennie missing the initial shot, flashbang up and over the red box. He's looking for a better angle. He doesn't realize that Kerrigan's already pushed past it, and he's just going to squeak out a little bit further, spots the hip and sends him flying. A great first half already for Immortals.
Oh, perfect first half right now. But if I was Faze there, would I have tried to like make these hero plays with pistols pushing through middle, or would I try to get Alu in a more aggressive position with the op and try to get a pick that way? Right there, we saw Rain getting a few really great pickoffs, but then once they had that 4 versus 2 situation, classic display of lack of discipline. Just because 4 versus 2, Rain, okay, you peek from a headshot angle with your deagle, makes sense. But AZ, just standing out in the middle of the open, why?
Yeah, he was right on the other side of the Z connector, just kind of in no man's land. Kills are piling up right now for the side of Faze, though, as they brought it down to 3 yet again. They seem to be having a little bit more success early on in the round, cutting down the forces from Immortals. Oh, Henny barely misses that shot as he tries to connect on the man in heaven. Alu ducks just beneath it. So he's going to be counting his blessings here as he finds himself with a second chance. It's a 4-on-3 still with 1 minute and 15 seconds left. There's a nade sailing into the site, does 1 armor damage to Kerrigan as it's lethal. That's going to really hurt in the long run. Right now, though, Immortals kind of stunned by the loss of 2 players early, so they're taking their time to try and clear things out. Maybe catch someone from Faze playing a little bit more aggressive, but not going to happen. Concrete shoes right now for everyone on Faze. They're sticking their spots, and they don't seem to be moving.
This is a perfect play from Faze here. This is what they want to be doing. They have that man advantage now, 2-man advantage. Just sitting back, waiting for the terrorists to commit to a bomb site. That's what they need to be doing, ensuring that if one of the counter-terrorists dies here, there will be a trade being made, and the terrorists have to commit their lives completely, meaning that they're completely exposed to multiple angles. And this is what's happening. Bolt's coming in, too many angles to clear. He's unable to check CT and the bomb site at the same time, and Kerrigan's able to get a nice pick off, shooting him in the back while Boltz was trying to look for Kerrigan's teammate there.
This will be a big hunt down kill for them if they can take the op out of the hand of Henny. He's also got some utility and a Tech 9 as well, so there's a lot of money on him right now, and they desperately want to take it away. Nice shot onto Kerrigan, though, as he waits for him to push through. He knows where these players are going to be coming from, and he doesn't have to kill too much more time. There's actually no one really near him, so he should be able to survive. The closest player would be Rain, who's over towards Toxic Barrels, potentially on the catwalk. So they're not going to push. They're going to hang back. They realize they need the money more than they need the kill. So he'll be able to grandfather that op into the next round. As we see Immortals coming into yet another buy, they had plenty of cash moving into this.
And we're going to see, actually, if Faze, even if they lose a round, like their money's pretty low on 2 of the players, but we'll probably see a force buy from them if they do lose a round. But Immortals just stacked on cash at the moment. That looks like the momentum's just rolling in their favor right now, and they have a lot of control over this game. They're winning a lot of these duels, these engagements, so I think we're going to see a trend of this. We're going to see them looking for picks here off the back of anyone just looking for op picks. Felp looking for mid picks. Bolt's just kind of holding, chilling at B, making sure that Kerrigan or Kiyoshima don't get a little too excited over at B and try to get a little bit too much map control. But it looks like just a slow play here, waiting out these smoke grenades at the start of the round, and that's basically what you have to do. You have to wait out the smokes. You have to wait for clear sight lines before you can go in and try to make anything happen. And it's going to be important for the terrorists just to sit back and chill and let the Opera go and make the pick. Lucas is holding for a push, and the angle that he's holding is so that no counter-terrorists can push up middle and get into that aggressive position under the boost, the counter boost spot. And it looks like anyone's finally looking for that pick into A. And the rest of the team's just holding back, just chilling, getting map control and pressuring a little bit, but not committing their lives to it. They're just pushing the counter-terrorists back just with their utility. And we can see on the terrorist side, all the players except for 1 have used their utility in this round, and that's just to gain map control. They have middle control, Phelps in a great position, and we're probably going to see a fake towards A, a little bit of pressure here, and then the lurk towards B.
Yeah, they might be falling off of A after they try and get this information from Highway. They've got Phelps, or I think it's Phelps in that position, but Boltz, meanwhile, he knows there's a player in this position. He can see the barrel peeking through, and eventually he decides to force his way on the fight. But here comes that fake A push that we were talking about. However, they've lost almost everyone in that area. Kerrigan's on B, and I think that he just pulled the bomb out. I think he pulled the bomb out right before that duel because he was running out of time and he had to force the plant. Great work from Kerrigan on the site in the 1 versus 2 push. And it's a 4th round for Faze. Now the money's starting to get a little bit awkward for Immortals.
Yeah, I think the idea behind that strategy was good. I think the problem was that they didn't do it quick enough, and it cost them in the end of the round there, where they were forced to go into B a little too early, and then it kept Kerrigan at the bomb site. Kerrigan didn't rotate over to A, which is what the idea of the strategy is going to do. It's going to cause the players to rotate towards A on that pressure late in the round, but 2 of the counter-terrorists remained at the B bomb site, and that's what cost Immortals a round. But great idea behind the play, just unable to make it work.
I mean, the other issue is that the guys on A didn't really do anything. They didn't get any kills. They died so fast that they never kept the players in that area. Kiyoshima leaps up.
Yeah, he almost CSGO'd bolts there.
That would have been ridiculous if it actually happened as he tries to go for the jumping shot through the window. Kerrigan, I would love to see what that's going to do.
It's probably one of those, he's holding both mouse buttons down, and it's going to give him like one of those medium distance
toss?
flashes.
Yeah.
That's just going to land above him in the air.
Oh my gosh, nice shot
hate to
from
see it.
Steel. As Alu goes down, the off gets beaten by the Deagle, as it does manage to come to fruition sometimes. The Deagle, so frustrating often, but today it's working out for Immortals as they give themselves the man advantage, but they're still lacking the firepower and also the utility as well. HP a little bit low on Henny and Bolts, both down on 19 as they try to reposition for this A site. They've got control of Highway, but there's only one player coming in from there, and that's the man who found the one Deke early on, that's Phelps. And now Rain is in a position to cut him down quickly, takes a bit of damage and decides to fall back into the site. There's another one coming in from Phelps, and another! He's found himself 3 with the Deagle. Actually make that 2, it's 1 for Steel in the mix as well. They've gotten control of the site. Kiyoshima and Kerrigan now coming in on the retake. Kiyoshima spots Phelps and tries to squeeze the bullet through, but he can't quite do it. He's going to reposition and take down Bolts. Do they realize they've got one hanging in on the backside? Steel, oh, he's whiffing with the Deagle. He's having a hard time. Phelps is locked down on quad box with the AWP. Bullets start coming through. He's down to 2 HP. Eventually he drops, and the bomb should be defused in just a second here. Unfortunately, Steel not able to work anything with that Deagle. It's now a 5th round for Faze. Almost became a round for Immortals. That's rough.
That's so rough. You hate to see it. But the idea behind that round at the end there, 3 versus 2 for the terrorists, the idea was that Steel was going to go and do a big flank, and the terrorists were going to just pressure enough so that the CTs wouldn't push in to the bomb site and get those kills and get on the bomb instantly. They needed to take it slow so that Steel could actually work that flank play off. But unfortunately, when Steel finally got around to mid, just missed on the back, whether that being he wasn't aiming properly or the inaccuracy of the Deagle.
Live by the Deagle, you die by the Deagle.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. Already a kill coming through, though, for the CTs as Alu has put his op in the position to take down Steel. They've got the man advantage again, 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. But Immortals has kind of sputtered out as the first half has progressed. They started out hot, but they just haven't been able to bounce back. And then we see the double op approach again from the side of Faze. It's in the hands of Kerrigan and Alu. One we expect, maybe the other not so much. AZ using the rifle to best Henny. That's the opper dead for the side of Immortals, but I don't even believe he had it here. Nade lands underneath the lap of Phelps. The round is pretty much one-sided at this point. Finally a kill coming through, but it's only 1, and it's down to 1. Bolts by himself in a 1 versus 4. He's trying to work towards B to the best of his ability, and he will take down Kerrigan. That's the opt down. If he can keep them from picking that up, it would actually be pretty good to try and prevent any cash flow, but right now they really need to start grabbing rounds again because they've bled too many by this point. Bolts gets into the site, so he will be able to get the bomb down if they don't push him, and I don't believe they're going to do so. He fakes it just to see if they push out. There's a swing out for the man on Heaven, so he falls. He kind of just did that on his own as well. Alu peeks out. That's the other op down. That's a lot of money already thrown away. And now another kill for him. Oh, man, in the end, he does die. But look how much money that round cost them. AZ just barely gets to the op in time.
That was well played by Bolts there, just baiting out the players from the CT side, Faze players. Getting those pickoffs just on these 1 versus 1 engagements just because he's playing behind the sight boxes properly. But if you want to just go back like 10-15 seconds before that, Kerrigan at triple box on the B bomb site, all he has to do is hide there. There's no reason for him to peek out. If he just hides there, then the only way for Bolts to kill him on the bomb site is if he pushes up and crosses the sight lines of Kerrigan's teammates. If he wants to push up and get into the bomb site, his teammate, Kerrigan's teammate in Heaven, would have killed the player, would have killed Bolts. And if Bolts is looking at Heaven, Kerrigan can swing out and shoot the guy in the back. So right there, that round should not have got that close. It was like 4 versus 1 or something. If Kerrigan just hides, that's just like an easy round for Faze. But he peeks out and it comes out to 1 versus 1. Like that's just crazy. That's just, ooh, so crazy. But having said that, Faze definitely been changing the gears of the game and playing a lot slower and not really relying on peaks. They know like Immortals is looking for these picks. They're playing it slow, they're looking for the picks. Let's deny them this kind of, let's not play into their game. let's not give them the picks. Let's make them, if they want to kill us, they have to commit fully. And is working really well for FaZe at the moment as they're just picking up these rounds one by one. I mean, that round they should have won with 4 people alive. Now they only have 1 person alive. That's going to hurt them economically, but they're still doing all right. They're still coming back into this game slowly but surely. 7 rounds is a lot, but at the same time, it's not enough.
No. I mean, they almost tossed away 9,500 with the 2 offs. If they weren't able to get that second off, that's a huge loss. And a lot of it did come down to just players making individual plays that weren't necessary. So Bolts is in a 1v4. He gets a 1v1 with Kerrigan, a 1v1 with Alu, and then the final 1v2 was played right. You kind of like bait the one player out and repeat, but at the same point in time, it was dangerous. He could have, if he actually gets in to tree and runs back to the A site, or even if he just gets in that position, like it all of a sudden becomes a different scenario.
No, so Bolts didn't have the time to do that. He was like already, I mean, around 20 seconds left in the round. His play there, he got the kill on one of the players. Bolts committed to the CT that was in CT spawn, but there was no CT in CT spawn. AZ was in B main. So right there, Bolts, instead of peeking out and trying to swing and catch a CT off guard that was like trying to push and going for the trade, he just took a gamble and gambled it wrong. But I don't think it was necessary to make that gamble. He was in a great position there. There's no way that the CT could have pushed in and killed him if he decided to go and plant the bomb. He could have done another fake plant and, you know, to see where the counter terrace was coming from. He could have done a full plant and just taken a gamble that the player wasn't in CT spawn. But there's like so many ways that he could have played it. And he was just feeling it. He got 3 kills already. Yeah, I can get the score and I know where he is. But he didn't.
Yeah, he had the hot hand.
Yep, and then right here, AZ just pushing into A main at the start of the round. I don't know why you would choose to do this when I just said, like,
this one stings a bit. It's already down to Kiyoshima as Steel goes into convulsions. It's 1 player left alive. He hasn't even thrown a nade. He's got an incendiary smoke flash and HE. Kit hasn't fired a bullet really. He's picked up the op and he's going to try and at least do some damage here, but now they know where he's at, so it's unlikely that they want to let him keep this one. However, the smoke at his feet means he's going to have a hard time pushing up past this position. Flashbangs raining out into his face as well. We're deep in the half at this point, so Immortals is just wanting to grab a few more rounds. There's Steel coming in from the flank. That's actually really rough if you're FaZe, because that last round before that cost you a lot. So look at what it does.
Yeah, I mean, it just hurts me to just sit here and say like, oh yeah, FaZe is actually playing this smart. They're like taking it slower. They're making Immortals come in and like fully commit their lives to getting the kills. And then right there, I mean, at the start of the round, you push into A main, you die, and then you let them out. And, I just don't understand why they would try to do that when they were just picking up so many rounds by playing it slow and methodically. And by slow and methodically, I mean just making Immortals commit and, you know, make the mistakes.
Alu now trying to get aggressive with his pistol. He actually passes by like ships in the night through the smoke as Lucas gets past him. I'm not sure either player even realizes what just happened. Alu is now behind enemy lines, but he's only got a 5-7, and he's just a little bit late to the party. He does manage to eventually kill Phelps as the bullets weren't necessarily connecting early on. It's down to 2. Henny and Steel. Steel in towards the squeaky door, gets mollied off, but it's Henny who hits a nice shot on the rain, trying to cross over towards the fence position. Still a 2-on-4 though. Plenty of clock time right now for the T side to work with. However, rifles have been picked up for everyone on FaZe but AZ. Alu's got an AK, so does Kerrigan. Keo with the M4, and there goes Steel through the door. They knew where he was at, so it was just a matter of time. Henny now is going to have to come up with the God play. It's a 1 versus 4, and he's got someone watching the flank as well. Alu is back there with the AK behind the white van. Not sure he's necessarily prepared for that position. He's boxed in. He can't leave this position. He's going to have to do something. There's the first shot. Misses the second, and now he's been chipped down to just 48 points of health. Keo making the call to his team to advance from their backside positions. And he is still here with Yop, and he's not sure where they're coming from or when. Flicking back towards A main entrance, but he doesn't see him. It will be an 8-7, so another 8-7 despite a lopsided start. Basically, TSM Renegades.
And there was a great double peek there at the end by having the player on forklift and catwalk at the same time, just double peek and the flanker just containing as opposed to fully committing to the flank. So very well played there at the end by FaZe, and even though I was saying like just play it slow and just force Immortals to commit, they had pistols, they had to make a play, they had to do something crazy. And I mean, just off the back of the pistols, you have to get aggressive, and that's what happened.
You can see the replays coming through. A lot of big plays made individually. Right now it's just really early in the game, so not much happening. This was one of the rounds where we saw Phelps get pinned in the door. That's kind of rough. And there's that one shot we were talking about. It was like as soon as he dies, he gets the deagle kill. Here's Rain as well with that 3K with the deagle in mid. Tried to hang around for a fourth, he didn't get it. Kerrigan almost whiffed that shot, but it came down to a 1v1 anyway in that round. So it was expensive, but Kerrigan, again, this was another play where they ran out of time. Remember, they went for that fake A. A lot of rounds that probably could have gone the way of Immortals, but they sort of just put themselves in a corner and they couldn't get out of
it. It's right here, that push by AZ getting on top of that smoke. In another world, in another situation, okay, maybe good play, but right now, that's not the play that you need to make. And I think that almost cost them, I mean, the following round, 5 pistols on Faze, and it was off the back of just losing that player at A and then having Immortals just rush into A, saying, oh, you know what, we got the kill here, let's go. So that almost cost them not just that round, but following round as well. Fortunately, Faze was able to pull it back. I mean, 7-8 scoreline isn't that bad at the moment. It all relies on whoever's going to win pistol round here. And I believe, was it Faze that won the pistol round first half?
Yes.
I think it was.
With 4 players up, if I'm not mistaken.
So actually, Immortals doing a pretty job. 8 rounds with no pistol. That's actually a really good job from them. So if they're able to win the pistol round, it's going to be just such a huge lead that they have going into the second half, holding CT side of cash. But
yeah, I mean, if you remember, they won the pistol round with 4 players up, and then they got the bomb down in the second round with not a full pistol armor buy. They had like 2 players with pistol armor. They got it down on B. They actually almost held. It was 1v1 between, I think it was Rain on the side with the UMP and Henny and B main with the deagle. But then the next round, they knew they did so much damage.
Yeah.
So they forced up, and that's when they won and started bringing it back. So they lost those first 2 very early, and then they won, I think, 7 in a row before we saw Faze grab another round.
Yeah, there was a huge win streak coming in from them.
But then the sales kind of fell flat. We didn't see much from Immortals the rest of the game. They weren't able to grab rounds. They were doing decent, but it was like when it came down to the late round, that's where they seemed to struggle. They were never really able to close things out.
Right.
So now we find ourselves going into the second half, and I like the buy from Lucas, the dualies.
Underrated.
I always love to see where those are put in play because it seems like such a goofy buy, especially when you don't throw it to someone with armor.
I see. He's going to play around with smoke or something right now by himself. So, I mean, it makes sense, but I would, if I'm doing that, I have someone drop me dualies, I have armor type of thing. But I guess, I mean, it's working out right now.
Kerrigan spots him trying to flank from mid, and he just keeps firing, but eventually Henny peeks out and gets the best of him despite the early damage. Bolts falls in the sight though, and that is the Tech 9 armor buy on Rain that produces the kill. Here comes Lucas with the dualies, flashbang up and over. Oh, that's a shame. We would have loved to see more action from that. Even the backup man isn't able to do much of anything. Steel and Henny now trying to come in on the retake, and they really don't have much to work with. They do have the kit in the hands of Steel, but they have a smoke grenade for Steel as well, so I guess they have something, but there's the flank from Alu. Steel's already found a kill though, so they're pushing up into the site. Steel falls to Kiyoshima. And now Henny in the site. USP in hand, running low on ammo. Eventually loses the duel to Kyo anyway. Apparently he wasn't the problem. Faze is going to be able to tie things up at 8 apiece.
Both pistol round wins here for Faze, so if Faze is able to pick up these next 2 rounds as well, we're going to be seeing an 11-8 scoreline with both pistols. So Immortals definitely still able to pull it back and you know, crawl back into the winning position here. But right now it's looking definitely in the favor of Faze. As they are on the Terra side, they're able to kind of play with that momentum. And I'd say Cash is pretty even-sided in terms of CT versus T sides. I don't have the exact statistics, so I'm probably making that up.
Henny boosting Phelps up and over. We'll see if they're prepared for this. This is a pretty dedicated A-take. If he makes this come out in the right time, he might be able to find a few, but they're already watching. They must have heard the drop. So Alu watches the backside. The flank doesn't work out at all for Immortals. They forced up here, and it's not really producing much early on. The play into the site. Wow. Rain with the MAC-10 from range, tapping away on the head of Lucas. They survive the round with all 5 members on Faze. It's a great way to build up your cash moving forward, especially when you're using the SMGs.
I want to point out what Alu was doing there. So it was 2 things. One, yes, he kind of was watching the flank, but the second time, because his team was committed to going towards A, he needed to play a counter flash in case Immortals did a pop flash A play. he would have not been affected by the flashbang, and he would have been able to just do a 180 and then kill any counter-terrorists that were pushing in there. So he has like 2 jobs. There's no reason that he needs to be looking forwards. He just needs to be looking behind, dodging a flash, and watching the flank.
Jeez, it's almost like you know this game.
That's crazy.
I know, right? Kerrigan in mid with the UMP and Rain finding one as well. It's just a pistol buy coming out for the side of Immortals. Henny's now the last one left alive. He's only got a P250 to work with. Again, another round where potentially 5 players survive, and they do in fact. So that's a serious way to build up cash for Faze. I mean, they're like 8K on Rain already. That's scary moving forward if you're Immortals.
And Immortals here, actually, one player, Bolt, decides that he's going to go for a FAMAS and get the nades. Whereas the rest of the team, they don't have nades. They have no utility. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to rely on aggressive picks. So N1, definitely a player to watch in this round to see if he can go and grab some op picks here. And then the rest of them as well, they have rifles. They're going to go aggressive probably at A main, probably at B, just like peeking around, just looking for some aggressive picks here.
Oh man, this play from Phelps. He's going to get one. He falls back into the smoke. Bolt's in the sight. Rain gets lost in it, and he's going to go down as well. That early play really opened things up. Henny now chiming in from Highway with the op. Kiyoshima's left alone and starting to wonder what happened to his team. Where did everyone go? A reverse of the previous rounds as Immortal works the buy with ease. All 5 players survive, barely taking any damage. Basically just a flip-flop of the rounds we've seen already.
Faze should have been playing that slow there. Just understanding what Immortals' money situation was going to be like, they should have just been like, you know what, they have to go aggressive on us. They have to try to make something happen here. Let's just sit back. Let's just chill. Let's do nothing. And instead, they tried to do a pop flash burst out A, and they got caught off because Phelps was boosted in A main, got it picked off, and then Faze is like, let's commit to this push. They run through a smoke grenade, and there's too many angles to clear. Steel's just sitting back at quad box, is able to just mop them down.
Again, they're going to go with this play. Boosting Steel up and over the top. This time, though, pumping the brakes a bit. Doesn't want to take the chances that they're watching it, and in fact, they are. AZ is back there looking for the player that could potentially flow over the top. It's all going to come down to timing, whether or not AZ sticks around in this position long enough to spot him, or if he falls off. Phelps dropped down to 44 HP early on, and he taking a bit of damage as well. Not a lick of damage to anyone on Faze as of yet. Steel decided to fall off instead, smokes off mid-main, and he's going to fall back down towards the white box as well. So they don't take advantage of the push over the top. He decides it's not worth it, and it's a good call. I mean, he would have been obliterated.
The push or the boost to be in that position, it's usually just like good to sit back and not peek out, just because a lot of teams who are defaulting and going this slow, which is what Faze exactly is doing, they'll be watching for that push. But as soon as Faze decides that they want to regroup and go towards A, Steel's already in that position, and his teammates already moved away into another position to be more useful, and then Steel can get that flank off without requiring a boost mid-round.
And we'll see if, oh man, he unscopes and falls back into B, and it's going to be a split B coming out.
Well, that's why he fell back.
Yeah, he's going to have to do some work from the back of the site. He's behind the big box. He's got an angle. He chucks a Molotov out. It's going to be a little bit late as the player's already evacuated that position. Sticks around long enough to find one, but eventually will fall. They're going to dive into the Molotov and take some damage anyway. Phelps, though, does spot Kiyoshima trying to get into the site and finds the headshot with the AK. The bomb site has been compromised. Meanwhile, in mid, we've still got alert coming in from Kerrigan. He's way behind it. Just basically playing to get into vents, seeing if anybody's going to rotate into that area. Alu misses the initial shot, but there's the follow-up from Rain. Rain gets dropped by an absolute beauty of a shot, and now it's Kerrigan all alone. He flanks from vents finally, and it comes down to a 1v1. It's Bolts versus Kerrigan. The bomb planted for Kerrigan. Bolts is going to have to bait him out and line up the shot, and he's just going to stick it. No, he's not. He pulls off again. Kerrigan playing this one exactly how you need to. Not really much that Bolts can do. Perfectly executed from Faze.
Perfect play there by Kerrigan. And something that you might not have noticed is when he went into checkers after he got that kill on the player pushing out to headshot angle from CT spawn, he jumped up on that little boost area under the vents. And what that does is it creates an uneven angle. So if the counter-terrorist Immortal player pushed into checkers to clear out that angle, he'd be aiming probably around Kerrigan's chest area, maybe a little bit lower. So he wouldn't have been able to get one shot unless the Immortals player just flicked up. But Kerrigan, great play there, playing the bomb perfectly, just not even peeking out, just shouldering out, not even showing his shoulder, just shooting, pressuring Immortals. So, the Immortals player who's on the bomb, he needs to either stick it, and then, Kerrigan's got the info that he's sticking it, but as soon as he shoots back at Kerrigan, who's not even peeking, Kerrigan says, you know what, I got another 5 seconds I don't have to peek for because you have to touch the bomb. And then if you were sticking the bomb, 5 seconds that you have to hold it for. So playing the bomb, playing the time perfectly, that's why Kerrigan's known as one of the smarter players in the game.
It's like we had said beforehand, maybe not, his stats don't necessarily show his brain
Mechanical
power.
skill, yeah.
I mean, he has what is his degree in? I forget. He like finished college. He's a master's, I believe.
Yeah, he does. I don't know what it's in, though.
I don't even have a bachelor's, so what am I doing here?
Yeah,
I'm in the wrong place. I should be a player. Apparently, I would have a master's degree. That's how it works, right?
Well, not really.
4 players left for Immortals as they try to defend and prevent Faze from being able to spread the gap. The lead has built up a pretty decent chunk, down to 2 rounds. Compared to how this was, 2 rounds right now for Faze is huge compared to how they were down 7-2 at one point. Lucas in the site is the last hope. He's going to line up 2 with the UMP. Before he falls, Lucas has to switch to the USP. Unfortunately, it's not strong enough for him. Henny now all alone, 1 versus 3. I feel like time and time again, this is a situation. We find Faze with the numbers after the post plant, and it's a player working by himself. Henny's got a UMP at range. What can you really expect from him? They've got the AWP and the AKs, and at this point, he makes the call. It's time to save.
Both the kills were made over at the A bomb site, so unable to go and pick up an AK upgrade to that. But as he is a counter-terrorist, and one will get money even if he saves his weapon, so that's what he's trying to do. Just hang on to his weapon, he'll get the money anyways. Whereas terrorists, if they were trying to hold on to a gun and save, they would actually not get any cash.
Henny now just trying to save this. Oh man, those shots from the AK were just over. Yeah, you could hear the bullets whizzing past his ears. As the round, it was almost a big play from Lucas as he lined up 2 with the UMP. Unfortunately, the magazine just ran a little bit dry and he wasn't able to get much more. Pause coming out. Assumption, it's a tactical pause for Immortals, obviously. They're down 3 rounds. Money is not in a good spot. Yeah.
I like to point out on the spacing of Faze Clan that on that A push, they lined up. They don't need to be that close to one another. Like, if you're going in and there's so many angles that you have to clear, provide space. Just bait one of the players. The player's going to go in, tell you exactly where the counter-terrorists are holding from, and then you're going to be able to go in knowing like what kind of engagement or angle that you want to take to enter the bomb site. But instead, they line up. And if it wasn't for Kerrigan getting that Glock kill, or I guess you want to say the CT player running out of ammo on the UMP, I mean, that round could have gone differently. You gotta give your space to your teammates. You gotta let them go through.
I mean,
almost
spacing is one of those like kind of weird aspects of team play that a lot of people don't realize how important it is.
Yeah.
And that's why you see like lineup shots and double kills all the time, is because teams don't really put a focus on that.
Oh, for sure.
It's just it's one of those like macro pieces of play where it's like it's a smaller moving part inside the whole machine. Right now, though, it should be a pretty easy round for Faze to take. Immortals working with just the UMP that Henny was able to save from the previous round. Pistols for everyone else, and they're the vanilla pistols as well, P2Ks and USP. I believe a P250 in the hands of Bolts. Can we please change that icon so it looks a little bit different? Can we talk about that?
P250.
Yeah, come on. Kiyoshima finding the first kill. Steal is down. They've gotten full access to B. They'll plant the bomb. There's really not much resistance coming out from Immortals as they try to come in and at least do some damage. They're basically all setting up for angles to go find exits. There's a nice flash, though, to let the players out of heaven, and all 3 players die immediately, and oh my god, it was just a massacre on the B site. But eventually, they all just drop within the matter of 2 seconds. Now the buy comes out from Immortals.
Yeah, well played there by Faze Clan, just taking that slow and methodically. They knew Immortals had to be on an eco there, so instead of just like rushing into some place looking for picks, they just grouped up, went slow, smoked out the rotation area, so CT spawn. Heaven, they actually used a Molotov on that area instead, and then just like methodically cleared out the area, made sure that if there was a bomb site stack on the B site from Immortals, they wouldn't run into a trap. So Faze playing it slow and methodically, that's what we want to see from this tactical team here.
And he right on the other side of the white box. He's got Rain there, and he buys his time perfectly. Rain just walks right out into the scope. So a good start for Immortals, who's working with a little bit less firepower. They have the FAMAS in play, and they've already lost a player as well. Light on utility, which is important. No kit as well. So again, that retake is going to be so hard, and they're just going to storm this B site where Lucas is isolated. He's all by himself. He needs support to come in, and the support's already gone down. That was Henny with the AWP. Now Lucas dies in B. Phelps is trying to fly in fast, and again, just cut down quickly. Bolts towards the truck. He's the last hope for Immortals to prevent Faze from hitting this 14th round, and really, what can you expect him to do except hold on to this gun?
Yeah, trying to save in CT spawn. I mean, that's the play that you have to make here. Terra's probably going to go hunting him down. It's more important for Bolts to lose his gun than for Faze to keep their guns. Faze, I believe, have plenty of cash to just kind of warn chasing this. And you know, if they lose a player here, if they lose 4 players here, they've still got the momentum. They still have cash to buy up in the following round. Whereas Immortals, they need this.
They're going to have about 3K, roughly, because they're going to get 4 rounds of loss bonus, so that's 2,900.
Yep.
It's not going to be a lot.
No, it's not.
So they're going to have about 3K, 30, 50 on these guys. So, I mean, it's enough to get FAMAS body armor, which at this point they just have to do it. They might even opt to buy an ump, or in this case, Phelps buys a P90 because you're just doing whatever you can, but...
No armor. I think that was a misbuy.
I think so
I think
as well.
he was going for a UMP, but accidentally bought a P90.
So that's, like that gun, the P90,
It's a troll.
because it's way more expensive than all the other SMGs, and it gets you less money.
More expensive than a FAMAS.
Yeah, and it gets you less money than the other SMGs. It's 300 like a rifle. Whoops. Glass P90. We'll see if it works out here.
Well, I guess the one redeeming factor is that you can just fly around the map full speed and still have decent accuracy. But I think Rain might have actually heard this boost. And if the Terrorist team actually execute here, they're going to be committed on that. AZ is probably just going to look straight back.
Yeah. They didn't see him.
No, he knows. There's no way that the guy didn't hear the boost. Like the way that he was clearing it to aim in, they know. And they're going to fully commit to this, I think.
There's the molly out. Oh, they don't peek towards him.
Oh my God,
they second guess because he peeks up and he doesn't spot him. However, he is only able to get 1 from this position. Now Phelps has to come up huge with the P90 in the sight. We said he did not buy armor. His teammate has dropped. He's got the bomb down right next to him. He knows they're all around him. He's just trying to buy time in the smoke. Eventually pushes through, and there's that armor. If he had armor, all of a sudden that changes. Even if he had a UMP, it changes. Nice shooting from Lucas, though. Gets the man towards quad box. The bomb still hasn't touched the ground yet, and now it's all up to Kiyoshima and aim 8. It's somehow come down to just a 1v1. Kyo versus Steel, and a nice pop flash bait out. Throws the flash and peeks in front of it before it blooms. Great play from Kyo, and it's now a 15-9. Faze Clan right on the cusp of the finish line.
And if I was Faze right now, I'm expecting Immortals, low money, they're going to go aggressive. They're going to stack something, but probably aggressive, look for, like, get in our faces. Let's sit back and chill. Let's use our utility when we go somewhere. We'll use Molotovs like in every position that they can be in. And let's just wait for Immortals to do something aggressive. And as I say that, just setting up in the default, just looking for picks here, looking to see if Immortals does feed, and Alu's kind of looking, expecting a play here by Immortals. And, well, he gets it. He almost got CSGO timing there so hard.
I mean, he did get dinked, so he's down to 7 HP, but the early advantage is theirs.
Should probably give that off over to a rifler.
That's one of those changes you don't often, like Kerrigan, we saw Kerrigan picking up the off in the first half, right? Yeah, oh, I know what you're talking
Feels
about.
bugged, man.
Wow. Oh, man. Poor guy. What did you do? You decimated his career.
Stop.
It's all your fault.
I guess so.
No one else had anything to do with that.
No, not at all. It wasn't just correlation.
4 versus 4 3/4 here as Alu has very little HP left. His effectiveness in the round maybe a little bit less. Gonna be a little bit more timid with that off. Steel in the vents, Lucas in the sight. He's playing the headshot angle. He's just peeking up, looking for information. There's a kill coming out. That's Kerrigan dropping. But that was over on the A site, and it's a bait out. The play's coming towards B, and they're moving fast in towards the site. Lucas spots him and does decent damage initially. They're still striking from the vents. The tag team duo seems to be working out. They lose Lucas in the site, but there's Henny in the vents as well. It's come down to just Alu, the man with 7 HP. There's a nice shot from Alu, and another one! He's in a 1 versus 1! Henny almost whiffs on the shots, and Alu had a second chance.
Great shots.
Fantastic shooting from Alu.
Great shots by Alu, and that was almost close. Like, he had 7 health there to clutch the round in a 1 versus 3. His teammates with full health going in. Too many angles to clear, and his teammates were just dropping like flies around him. And definitely in a really hard situation for Alu to pull through, and got 2 great kills, and actually really impactful kills, but unfortunately unable to get the close out on the round.
I mean, at the same point, though, again, like Immortals doesn't care so much about their money at this point. They just care about bringing it back. Obviously, you know, you can't drop rounds, but they're working with, you know, a few FAMASes. They have an M4 and an AWP. They don't really have the utility. They don't have the kits. It's been the same problem all all half for them. Their
Yeah.
CT side has been crippled by the economic downturn.
Right.
So they're trying to do the best that they can with the buy. It seemed to work out for them last round, but if they continue these rounds that way, it's just going to make it harder for them to try and bring this one back to OT.
Even if FaZe loses the next like 3 rounds in a row, as long as they're killing 3-4 members from Immortals, eventually like they'll be able to break through and close this game out. Like it's just too hard not to close this game out right now if you're FaZe.
Kerrigan pops the door open. He's going to send a smoke out. Right now, he's the only player on A. Again, he's just putting out feelers towards this area. They lose a man in mid. His steal was right on the other side of the boost up. He's going to swap out for an AK and get aggressive on this play as well. Wow. Thought for sure he'd be able to kill Rain there, but Rain flies around the corner, and the AK of Rain is just a little bit better than Steel's. They've gotten control of mid, and now they're going to abuse this B bomb site yet again, where we've got Lucas all by himself. Time and time again, we've seen FaZe work towards B. Phelps in mid sees the flashbangs, but he can't really do much to stop them. He's stuck behind the white box, and there's only one player in that area anyway. The push is coming through into this B site. Lucas behind the pipe box. He's got Bolts pushing through the smoke. Bolts doesn't quite get the timing right, and he gets bested by Rain. Now Lucas in the site has to come up big, finds 2, looking for a 3rd. He's running low on the magazine, but it doesn't matter. It's all up to Kerrigan. Again, another close situation, a 1-on-2 with the bomb down in the site. And all they need to do is just kill clock at this point. Once he's spotted, they can just glue themselves in position, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Lucas hiding behind this box, knowing there's not much he can do. Henny hitting the shot on the op.
But again, 2 players alive only. And I think one of the biggest talking points in that round was Steel's play. So he got the kill on one of the FaZe members who's coming out middle. Great, cool. You have the 5-on-4. Now what you have to do, get out of there and stay alive. So whether that means sit in the corner and wait for your teammate to come and back you up before you fall back, or just fall back instantly, that's the play you need to make. Instead, he tries to go and get another pick, try to make it a 5-on-3. Instead, he lets them equalize it. It's a 4-on-4 now. And instead of just having that information of where the terrorists are and having that man advantage, he gives that up, and it gives terrorists middle control and allows them to split on B. And if it wasn't for that great hold from the players on the B bomb site there, that could have been the round for FaZe.
Phelps was trying to peek underneath that smoke with the UMP position towards the toxic barrels by the boost spot. He gets one and gets another as well. Now he can use the smoke for cover, but he doesn't get away in time. The kills have piled up for both teams, but it comes down to just one. Again, Kiyoshima in a 1 versus 3. So things have really flipped on their heads, whereas before it was Immortals who were at the disadvantage in the later half of the round. It's now the T side of FaZe, and Kiyoshima falls. Another round for Immortals. They've clawed their way back into this one. Now look at the money.
Yeah, now they've stabilized, and now FaZe is suddenly on an eco round. And I would say, like, your FaZe, Immortals are stabilizing. We're not getting these rounds. Do we want to do a force buy of some sort? Do we even want to pistol half armor? Probably not. Let's just do P250s, get like a smoke, maybe a few flashbangs, try to make something work with it, try to feel it out, wait out the pre-smokes from the counter-terrorists. And then from there, go on. Maybe like minute 20 or minute 10, you want to do like an execute somewhere, try to do a pop flash and just get in, try to brute force your way through, try to like, pick up weapons and try to make something happen. Probably try to win like a, in a post-plant situation, if you get into like a 3 versus 3 situation, maybe a 2 versus 2 situation. That's ideally what you're looking for as FaZe. Otherwise, you're just saving it so that you can oh boy.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
I think that Eagle has had one too many to drink.
One too many what's? One too many what's?
Energy drinks.
Energy drinks?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely caffeine overload.
Not adult beverages.
No, definitely
teen
not
beverages.
Adult beverages. Okay. I guess we're calling them that now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're trying to censor it as much as possible.
True.
Adult beverage could be, like tomato juice, because kids don't drink that, because it's disgusting. V8. That's what he's had one too many V8s.
Are we talking about V8 Splash or just a regular V8?
That's not fair. It's V8 Splash and Fusion are both delicious, but V8 is disgusting.
All right.
That's not even a contest.
You need to relax. But great position there by Phelps in that previous round with the UMP getting 2 pickoffs before getting taken out by Rain. I mean, that won Immortals that round basically, and one actually getting a nice pickoff here and spotting the enemies towards B. They know it's a B split.
Here come the forces too from Immortals to try and beef up the defense. Kerrigan's wrapping around, and he does manage to take down one, but reinforcements have already arrived. Pretty much snuffed out quickly by Immortals. They're now within 2 of tying this one up.
But as we see here, FaZe is able to buy up in this round, and they probably have enough. Even if they lose this, they probably have enough so that they can, get like a semi-decent buy in the next round, especially if they get a bomb plant and lose the round with a bomb plant. So they have like 2 real chances to close this out still. But Immortals with a real chance to bring this to overtime still max economy. They have 5 incendiary grenades. They got their smokes, so they're able to delay Faze. Faze won't be able to rush them at all, and Faze is just going to have to go slow and try to do this methodically, whether they like it or not, just because Immortals is going to force them in that type of play.
15-13, we're moving towards the possibility of seeing the 30th round here. As Faze is just trying to close this one out, but they're having a hard time. They hit that 15th round and they haven't been able to find one since. It was 15-9 at one point. It's been round after round after round for Immortals as they've brought it on back, winning 4 in a row and also causing some economic hardship for the side of Faze. It's basically a dose of the medicine that Immortals was receiving, that money problems they've been having on their CT side. Henny with the op, peeking towards mid. There's a smoke landing just in front of him, so he can't really see much over top of that. He's jumping and looking for information. Alu is positioned on the boost spot with the op. He's not watching the smoke. Oh my gosh, the shot just off the mark. I thought for sure Alu was going down in that position. However, he's had to move out. Now that the shot's been fired, he can't really stick around. He's repositioned towards the A site. Meanwhile, Kiyoshima already in checkers, looking for a kill in B. There's actually 2 players here. It's been a one-man defense for the most part. But now they've got 2, one behind Default and one behind Pipes. Flashbangs coming out. They do blind Lucas. There's a second flash coming out from the T side. But it's Lucas and Steel finding kills on the site, getting another one as well. They're shutting down the push single-handedly. Bolts gets one as well. But a fantastic hold on B from Immortals. And now Faze, they've got next to no money left.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing a tag pause here just to kind of talk about like, okay, look, let's close this out here. Let's not let it go to overtime. What do we need to do? What's going to happen here? Like, what's our plan for this round? But I just want to talk about that hold. That was a great hold from the CTs, and I think one of the major differences in that round was that there were no terrorists from FaZe Clan just sitting in checker room, just waiting, anticipating a flash to come, and just hiding from a flash and then peeking out after the flash pops so they can kill one of the counter terrorists who peeks out. Because the counter terrorists, they can't afford to peek out unless they flashbang. And you know it's coming. They can't afford to sit back and let the terrorists like come in, because if the terrorists run in, then the terrorists have that advantage of just like swarming over them and, you know, getting in that bomb site. So the CTs need to flash and need to peek. And if FaZe had someone just dodging that flash, maybe we could have seen a difference there in the round. But Immortals is clawing their way back in. Great hold by Steel, and I forget who the other one was. It Lucas?
It was Lucas. Lucas has been the primary B defender. Steel supported them there in that round, but this is it.
Yeah.
Will we be going to overtime, or will it be FaZe moving through with a 16-14? How many times have we seen these absolutely broken buys work out for a team when it comes down to the 30th round? FaZe has an AK, a Galil, 2 Deagles, and a Tech 9. Basically everything they could possibly afford. They're going to chuck some utility early over towards the B side. Oh, they're looking for Phelps through that smoke. The Deagle's just a little bit high, thinking that he would be on the barrels boosting instead. But no damage dealt, as we've got Henny positioned with the op, and there's 2 players waiting to push over. We'll see if they're actually going to do it, or if they decide to fall off. It looks like it's going to be a split A with some pressure coming from Highway if they can get control of that area. 2 players on the A side as well. Bolts is behind the quad box, and Phelps over towards the forklift. He's got a Molotov out, and he's going to chuck it towards A main to prevent the players from pushing out. Henny now is going to get pressured in mid. They fly out and land right on top of the door. He never sees him. I don't even think he's heard him at this point. He's peeking out, finally realizing they've gotten control. There's the shot in the back, but Alu's found a kill on this A site meanwhile, and they can't really do much of anything about this. Phelps hiding in the smoke, gonna get one through the edge. Henny picking one off as well. It looks like we could be going to overtime unless Kerrigan and Kiyoshima can bring this one out. They do get the bomb down. It's a 2-on-3 with the clock ticking away. As they try to set up for the post plant, it's a great Deagle shot from Kiyoshima that makes it all the more possible. Henny and Lucas, AK and Op, trying to retake with Kerrigan holding down that Galil and Kiyoshima on the Deagle. Henny swaps it out, decides that an AK is a more logical approach. Flashbang in from the CT side. Kiyoshima still behind the forklift. He gets taken down through it. Kerrigan now the last hope for FaZe. He's got a Galil, it's a 1 versus 2, and he will get dropped. We are going to overtime. Immortals bringing it back from a 15-9.
What was that? What was that? What was that shot, Eddie?
I'm shocked.
Unreal.
Great round.
I mean, from a 7-2 lead to then a 15-9 deficit.
Yeah.
I mean, this game has gone the full gamut, swinging across both teams.
But as we saw, and like I talked about before the game, I mean, Immortals, the map that they won was in overtime against these guys. So if they are going to win, it's going to be in overtime. And That's exactly what it's looking like it's going, because when you crawl back from like such a deficit and then you get to overtime, like you're just feeling it. You're feeling so good. But at the same time, if you had 15-9 lead or something and then you let it get to overtime, you just feel demoralized. There's no way to be like, all right, let's forget that just happened. Let's focus on this overtime. It's going to be at the back of your mind, somewhere in your mind. You can't just say, oh yeah, it's not going to affect me at all. You need 5 people to be on board with that. And if it affects one of them, that's the weakness that a team just needs to exploit. Just be like, oh, well, let's go and get these guys. But yeah, the idea behind that last round strat, I really enjoyed it from Faze. So the idea was they were going to have those 2 players boosted up. The remaining 3 players from Faze was going to go towards A. They were going to do a little bit of pressure on A, smoke, flash, things like that. And then with that pressure, it was supposed to pull Henny to rotate from middle towards A and help out A. And then that would give the opening for Faze to get that kill, get up highway, and split on the bomb site. However, the rotate actually came from B through CT spawn, and Henny stayed at middle the entire time. And because Henny stayed at middle, it just killed Faze's execution completely. Like, no one really expects, oh, the Opera's just going to sit in Z. And he couldn't peek out to the boost. He couldn't hold that angle, because if someone peeked from the bottom, from the ground, then the guy on the ground would kill Henny, and then that's over. So Henny couldn't peek towards boost. I think, in part, that's what won them the round by accident, because now he's finally like, oh, you know what? There's nothing at middle. Let's peek towards A. Oh, there's 2 dudes at highway, and they haven't even checked for me in Z. They haven't smoked it. They haven't mollied it. They couldn't really afford to do that. If I'm a terrorist running up highway, maybe I send one person up highway and another person to sit Z, or sit like by the highway box watching Z for someone to peek out and do that. And that could have been, the difference that Faze needed. But I mean, great play by Immortals, just consistently just doing the right plays and being really smart, sitting around in the bomb site, playing these crossfires, making sure that if one of them dies, they'll at least get the trade, and anytime one of them dies, they take out 2 Faze players as punishment. And that's what got them into overtime here. Great play from both sides throughout the game. Unfortunately, Faze is going to have to win it in overtime if they want to win this. Otherwise, Immortals looks like they're crawling back, and they can do this. It's very real.
I mean, Immortals not only now has momentum, but the money is not a problem anymore so much. As it's 10K MR3, unless we're doing something absurd, which we shouldn't be. So it's 10K MR3. So you play 3 rounds, $10,000 if you're unfamiliar with what we're talking about. So all the economic hardship that we saw for the Brazilian side in the first half, or the second half, that's not as much a problem here. Sure, if you get a little bit overzealous with the op, you can get yourself into trouble. But even just look at the approach. They buy body armor. They buy a little bit lighter on utility. They don't buy kits on everybody. They're understanding that they need to make this money work for them throughout all 3 rounds, because there is a strong possibility that Faze grabs one of these. It's going to be a B play here initially, as Steel is now the defender. They've got Lucas behind the big box, and he hasn't peeked, but his teammate has died in the site, and the smoke's not letting him do anything. He falls as well. And now if you're Immortals, you almost have to make an immediate decision. Do we save here, depending on what happens? It's 5 players in the site already. They do at least get 1 pick, but the call's already been made. It's a save coming out for Immortals. Makes perfect sense.
There's a bit of an unconventional take from Faze as well. Nobody went through checkers. No one held from checkers to hold for the bomb site. So Lucas, while he was in a great position, he couldn't really capitalize off of the positioning because no one went his way. If someone had gone checkers, boom, he can now kill someone on the bomb site, then kill the checkers guy or something like that. Or kill the checkers guy, then kill someone on the bomb site. But he just hid and anticipated, you know what, every time a terrorist team comes this way and they want to go to the bomb site, someone's going to come checkers. And because no one came checkers, he didn't peek out. His teammate was left on the bomb site. By the time Lucas finally peeked, there was no target in sight. All the targets were behind a smoke or behind cover, behind boxes. So the round going in favor of Faze. And I like what they did. They waited like 40 seconds so that they waited out the pre-smokes and like the Molotovs from Immortals. So when they finally executed Immortals, they didn't have anything to kind of stop that kind of bombardment. And Faze definitely playing that first round of overtime perfectly.
They're going to be able to hold on to this op. They're going to keep it in the hands of Henny naturally. Alu picking it up for the other side. As Faze grabs the first round of overtime. Still chances, though, for Immortals to bring it right on back. Alu's going to pick off one early, though. That's Lucas going down. Steel now trying to make it work, and this B site sends a flash through. A bit of a pop. And now he's stuck on the other side of the smoke. He throws one down just in front of him. He's going to hide in it, using it to at least give him some sort of cover. Or Faze isn't going to stick around. They don't really feel like fighting against that one. Steel sends an incendiary out. There's no one around to even hear it burn. 2 players on the A site. It's going to be Henny and Phelps. Henny on a position on top of the toxic barrels where he can peek in towards A main. The scary situation for him is he's basically watching the backside of Phelps, but they've already got one coming through the door. That's Kerrigan, so he's kind of got to keep his head on a swivel, and he's had to dedicate himself to the door instead. So now Phelps is dead to rights in A main. If he dies, they have full control of that area. However, Faze is playing this so timid. They see that player, they make contact, and they decide, okay, there's a smoke down, we're not going to push.
They have to.
Yeah,
Phelps has full control of A main. Faze can't go there, really. And the other thing is, because Phelps spotted 3 or 4 members from Faze, their play is like shown.
Oh!
That time.
He gets all the information necessary, and that's why they're in the situation that they're even in.
Yeah.
I mean, AZ is left alone now. It's a 1 versus 3. It looks like it will be a bounce back, a rebound round for Faze or for Immortals, unless AZ can light him up, finds the first one, gets the second as well. Steely spins back. Ooh, man, that got a little bit scary. If AZ was able to correct that recoil, it could have been a round for Faze. But they did take Immortals down to the Titan Curlies, so they lost all of their money. It's going to be an expensive buy. Naturally, it's the last round of the first half of overtime, but it can always have an impact. However, here it doesn't appear to be the case. They still have enough left in the reserves.
Yeah, both teams just completely maxed out, bought even sidearms, incendiary grenades, molotovs, smokes, everything. They got everything. So we're probably going to see a bit of a slower take here, see if the offers can take control of something, get a pick. Riflers just controlling, making sure that no CTs push up too aggressively, and then we're going to see Alu trying to make something happen here, and if nothing can happen, they'll probably just go into an execute. But
yeah,
showdown might happen.
I mean, right now what I'm not liking is it is a bit one-dimensional from Faze. I feel like we've been seeing the same look early on. They boost the off mid, they send Kerrigan squeaky door, and they have Kiyoshima lurk B, or they have somebody else. Yeah, I think Kiyoshima actually was lurking B. That seems to be the approach. Everyone else dedicates towards mid, but those two are kind of lurking the flanks looking for information, and it hasn't been working right off the bat.
It doesn't matter. They're getting the map control in all these rounds. It's just that the Immortals players are just playing really conservative at the bomb sites. And right now, we're seeing actually Kyo getting a pick on Steel, which hasn't been happening earlier on.
Oh, that's huge.
Wow. That's a bomb too. So Faze showed their hand. They showed that they were going back to B. They lost the bomb. Phelps gets that kill, and he's able to just shift position. But yeah, as I was saying, Immortals has just been playing so passive.
Look at Phelps.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's another kill.
Yeah, Phelps had pushed through Squeaky, and he had gotten one more Kiyoshima on the backside, and now he's got a great position to try and stop this push towards A. As the bomb is moving in from A main. They've already got one pushed up past the forklift. Kerrigan spins back to spot him, but they've got Bolts providing support from CT. However, he doesn't manage to win the duel. Kerrigan manages to take him down with the AK. The bomb will be planted. Phelps not spamming anything through. Henny picks off Kerrigan from range. Alu and AZ now versus Lucas, Henny, and Phelps. As the bomb ticks away on this A site, they have time to retake. Henny, where's he working that off? Alu's gonna drop. Lucas getting the headshot with the M4. Henny's coming in from CT. Lucas and Phelps tag teaming. Both players low on HP, but so is AZ. There it is. The nade lands on top of his head.
1 HP.
Unreal.
That's emo.
I mean, that 1 HP is a symbol of how this game has been. It's been an absolute brawl to the finish line. 17-16 as we move into the second half of overtime.
Some good timing from Phelps on his pushes there, pushing through A main, getting that pick. That was the bummer as well, and then it caused Faze, like if Faze got out of there, like if the timing was 1 second off, Faze goes to B, Kyo got that kill at B, and as I was saying, or trying to say before that happened, Immortals has been playing like really passive on B, to on the bomb site, not looking for, like not giving picks away. Oh, Alu.
Oh, he's got this 5-7. Wow. Why are we, I don't think this is live.
It's not live.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, 67 time. Like, wait, 1, 2, 3 rounds been playing. Yeah, we're chilling. I'm like, what?
Math is hard.
The math is real hard. I'm just, what?
There it is.
There we go.
Wow.
Caught me off guard. I assume as soon as we go, okay, we're gonna be live. I'm just, what? I'm missing something.
We'll blame jet lag.
True. Yeah.
I mean, we're both East Coasters.
I know. Yeah.
So even though we gain time, it's jet lag.
It's jet lag.
Yeah, it's jet lag. Just can't adjust. It's crazy time
When I went to bed, it was like 3 a.m. You know. Never mind the fact that I woke up at effectively like 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep.
So here we go into the second half of overtime. Immortals swapping over to the T side. They've got a 1-round advantage over Faze. If you're curious, the magic number is 19. That's what you need to take down a team. You know what? I'll be honest, a lot of people are like, whoa, really? 19 is what you need. That's cool. Thanks for letting me know. Thought it was 16
15 plus
initially.
4.
I know. Who would have thought that math would come into CS at all, ever?
I know.
Lucas trying to get that information in the kill early. He does get dropped by Kerrigan, so that's the man advantage. Nade up and over the top. Actually nails Kiyoshima. If Kerrigan was in that position, it could have been a kill. Henny now trying to work that smoke. Misses the shot onto Alu, and it looks like it's going to be an equalizer round for FaZe as they try to tie things up at 17 apiece. Right now, this is a game I looked at coming into this tournament as probably one of the most unpredictable, where it was more than likely going to be a deep map. Goes the full 30, potentially into overtime. Seeing the way these teams are playing, there's no reason to think we might not go double overtime.
Yeah, potentially.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to do some damage here. Does manage to spot AZ in the site. Kiyoshima pushes through from Z, though. Perfect timing, almost gets dropped. This weird point-blank fight with the M4 right against this dome. 17-17 all tied up.
Yeah, the thing is, with this round, if FaZe wins this round, I think they can end it before it goes to a second overtime. But if Immortals wins it, then they have a real chance of they have another chance. I mean, FaZe is going to be able to buy no matter what. But Immortals, next round, if they lose this, they won't be able to have a strong buy. They're going to have a weak buy, and they're going to be up against rifles and incendiary grenades and everything. So very important here for Immortals to take this round and secure it.
Nades coming out from both teams as they try to get the early advantage. Phelps just blows past the Molotov and the smoke in B. As he tries to get control of Checker, there's a Molotov out to flush out a player behind the big box in Checker, but he's not there. So they'll stick around in this area for a bit, but they decide to siphon off and potentially regroup towards mid. They're still going to keep one in that area. That'll be Bolts in the sunroom. And in fact, they do decide to stick around for a little while. Still trying to figure out what they want to do. Steals in A main, peeking towards the site. He's on top of the lockers, and AZ looks like he wants to challenge him in just a second. The flashbang's out, but Steel just keeps the trigger held down. AZ didn't stand a chance as the AK connects to the side of the head. And it's that man advantage for Immortals. They're up with a 5-on-4, 50 seconds left on the clock.
Two players from FaZe just committed to B. They have to. There was pressure early on. All in the hands of Alu here to kind of block down this bomb site.
Alu has to come up big from the quad box position. There's a Molotov, though. It's going to slow things down, which means now the plan is so escalated.
A split.
So they will be splitting, like you're saying, onto this A site. Bolts and Phelps coming up from Highway. They need to come up quick. Rain finds one. Looking for a second. He's got him lined up, but somehow loses the duel. And there's Alu dropping in the site as well. It looks like it could be around for Immortals. FaZe still trying to come in on the retake. Keo's made his way up towards the truck. He's got to wait for Kerrigan in mid. Kerrigan spots Bolt sleeping on the other side of the white box, but there's Any with the up in A main. Kerrigan now all alone coming in on the retake. He's got a flashbang and a kit, so he has some stuff to work with. Here's the flash towards A main. He actually blinds himself and tries to go with that same strategy we saw from Keo towards the end. Peek as the flash is about to pop, so you get the intel and you can maybe beat him before you get blinded. But in the end, it will be Immortals round to take. And like you said, if they wanted to go to double OT, that's what they had to do.
Yeah, the problem with the position Kerrigan was in there is that he knew that Henny was in A main with an op. So the flash was, if he throws a flash and waits for it to pop, it'll take Henny off the angle, but only briefly. And then Kerrigan can't really utilize that. So he's hoping flash pops and Kerrigan's able to see Henny, maybe Henny turns away from the flash type of thing, and Kerrigan's able to get the kill on him. If he doesn't hit that timing, it's near impossible to win that round, 1 versus 2, with the bomb playing in that situation. Henny with an op in A main, it's just too difficult.
So Immortals have reached the finish line. They're just waiting for that last step over. FaZe trying to match them, trying to grab that 18th round and force up double OT. Henny looking for the early information as he closes the door. He hears the shot come out, so he has a bit of an idea as to where they're playing these players. Alu sitting on the other side of the white box on top of the spindles, misses a shot and takes pretty significant damage. He tries to re-peek. Lucas gets him through the edge of the wall. That's the op out of the hands of FaZe. AZ's now going to peek out and try and take down Lucas, trying to find revenge for his fallen comrade. However, Lucas is behind the wall. The flashbang hits and he just finds safety behind it. Molotov towards the vents. So that way, Immortals cannot push in towards that area, but they've already got control of white box. Phelps is up, flashbang around the corner. AZ can't really do much. He's got to find a kill soon. He's buying so much time, but eventually he does fall, and now there's only one in this A site. That's the 5-man, and he falls as well. It will be up to Kiyoshima and Kerrigan to take this one to OT. Number 2, Kerrigan, nice shot from Truck. Lucas waiting. Oh, the timing gets taken down from the backstab. Even if he looks back, it doesn't matter. Both players peeking him at the same time. Good positional awareness and communication from Faze. Kerrigan and Kiyoshima still coming in on the retake, but down goes Kerrigan. It's all up to Kiyoshima. A 1 versus 2, and the bomb is ticking away.
Oh,
and
he
there
gets a
it is.
headshot too.
Oh, but yeah.
And he gets dinked from the M4, but it will be Immortals narrowly grabbing it, 19-17.
Oh, what a nail biter there. Faze probably feeling so bad after that. They had a 15-9 lead. Immortals clawed back, brought it to overtime, and then won in the first overtime. That's a huge win from Immortals there. I honestly did not see that coming.
I mean, we had talked, how much were the roster changes going to affect the team? Kyo clearly did not miss a beat. I feel like Kyo played really well. Maybe at points there was some clunkiness, like his positions didn't work out so well.